Well, hello everyone. Ogre27 Kane here today, and we're going to do a review of Live Alive for the Nintendo Switch. Let's do a brief overview and figure out what this game is all about. So this is a turn-based, tactical-esque RPG from the Super Nintendo that was brought up in HD 2D. This game is pretty awesome as it has 7 different stories to play through, each with their own characters and different goals and different styles of gameplay. If you get all the way through those 7, there is a secret 8th category, but we're not going to talk about that one today. We're just going to hit on the 7 main ones. So I will show all 7 of those campaigns off as we're talking about the game, but we will start off with our usual categories, first off being the gameplay. So the gameplay in this is a traditional turn-based tactical style RPG, but each campaign handles this a little bit differently. Some of the campaigns are very heavy on combat, some of the campaigns are very heavy on story. Each one works its own way into the narrative and it all comes together in a nice cohesive message at the end. It does require you to play through each one though to actually get to that 8th and final campaign. The thing that I have to say though is don't fall in love with any one campaign too quickly because they're not very long. They average between 3 and 5 hours apiece, and some of them have really cool aspects while others are a little more boring. One of the things that's really cool about this though is you still have your leveling systems and you still have all of your armor and items and weapons to equip and a certain amount of exploration to it. The worlds themselves are not terribly large, but they handle what they're trying to do within the short time frame they're given. I do love all the gameplay features to this, but it is not what you'd expect with having a giant Final Fantasy type story. Everything kind of fits together in its bite-sized pieces. I do love the fact that this game was an old Super Nintendo game they finally decided to bring up, and I'm a huge fan of the HD 2D art style and masterwork, if you will. This game is an absolute blast, and the gameplay in it is not like any other RPG you'll ever play. Yes, you have leveling systems and items and armor to equip, but none of them roll over into the next story, and each one is independent to each character and how they function. All of these factors come together to really make a great RPG and a memorable experience, but they are different, so let's hit the story. So although the story does have a grand scheme, if you will, to it, an overarching theme to it, each story is very different and independent from each other. You have the prehistory, which has a caveman who's out trying to save a little cave woman. You have the Wild West era, which is an outlaw gunman who's just trying to survive and get away from bounty hunters. You have the Imperial China scene, which you're seeing here. He's just trying to raise his next in line and pass on all of his kung fu techniques. You also have the Twilight of Edo, which is a shinobi who's trying to accomplish a certain goal. You have the Near Future, which is a guy who had a father that was killed and he's trying to avenge that death. And then you have the Distant Future, which basically has a little robot trying to discover what's going on the ship and figure out what's up. The last story piece I'm not going to mention, as it is fantastic, but it does kind of bring everything together and it makes all of it make sense. Each story is independent of each other, and they're all a lot of fun. You can play them in any order you like. So let's do controls and audio now. So we're going to start with the audio first, and although it is the Super Nintendo chiptunes, they did upgrade it and it sounds absolutely fantastic. This is the one story I didn't mention, the present day story, which is like a Street Fighter-esque story, but it has some really great sounds and the character voices are awesome. So let's take a listen.
You ready to throw down? Damn it! Easy. God.
So as with updating any Super Nintendo game, keeping it true to its form is really what their goal was, and I think they did a great job at it. The audio sounds fantastic, and they really just upgraded it for modern sound systems. As far as the controls go, they're just an RPG control scheme. You really can't change too much with that. You navigate menus, make selections, and move around. The only real update I saw to this was the fact that you can use the control stick to navigate the world, which is much nicer than a D-pad sometimes. I don't mind the old Super Nintendo D-pad, but having only the 4 to 8 directions, compared to a joystick, really is kind of a bit of a game changer in some areas. So let's go ahead and hit combat now. So although seeming very simplistic, as you don't really have a lot of options to choose from, as the combat grows and as you understand it more, each character has their strengths and weaknesses. Some characters have multiple characters in their party with different attacks, such as you're seeing here with a multi-hit attack, and other characters are just awesome on their own. I really like the Twilight of Edo campaign because that character can kind of focus on different attacks and different aspects. I really enjoy the combat to this game as it is kind of what you'd expect of an RPG, but it does allow just enough tactical maneuvering to really give yourself an edge or to really hold you back. If you like tactical RPGs, this is a great game to check out. It's not really what I expected, and I didn't think that an RPG like this would even have this in-depth a system. With some of the characters, you can even learn enemy attacks and grow their strengths as you're playing through their campaign. As you saw with the present-day character, each one of those characters you fight, you learn a different attack from, and it really does give you a breadth to deal with. On top of that, the HD 2D graphics really lend themselves well, as you can move around the battlefield and it gives a great perspective on it. This character right here, the gunman, he has, as you can expect, a gun, and it does a great job of giving you ranged attacks and different ways to go about your fight. The battle system is very simplistic in this though, and it always takes place on this short little grid, and it never really expands much upon that. But given the fact that this game is so narrative driven and so narrative heavy, these really didn't bother me, and they're not bad aspects to the game. It is very simple though, and it's not going to be Tactics Ogre level or anything like that. So I really hope you enjoy it and give it a chance. Let's try graphics and animation. So as far as the graphics and animation category goes in this game, I think it's truly one of the shining points. This game looks absolutely beautiful and stunning. As you can see here, they even incorporated some 3D models and texture work into the original gameplay, and I'm not sure if this is how it looked back then or just completely updated. But I can tell you that they fit in perfectly. The art style is absolutely gorgeous and fantastic. Squaresoft back in the 90s was truly a powerhouse, and they really knew how to make the best out of that 16-bit artwork. On top of that, the performance in this game is absolutely stellar. I didn't have a single crash, a single frame rate hiccup, no audio issues whatsoever. This game is truly a gem, and being that it's an HD 2D game, it's kind of one of the more unknown ones, if you will, as I don't think a lot of people even gave it a chance. But if you liked Octopath Traveler, if you like the new Dragon Quest III, then this game really does need to be one that's in your library, as it shows off a lot of those aspects. Let's hit conclusion now. So in conclusion, this game is an absolute must-buy in my opinion. This game is truly a nostalgia fest of the Super Nintendo and some of the best artworks and styles you'll ever see. 90s Squaresoft was truly hitting on the money with everything they did, and this game surprises me that we didn't really see much of it here in the States. It's awesome that they brought this game forward and gave it the HD 2D treatment, as this is definitely deserving of it. The only downside to this game is the fact that the campaigns are so short independently. But the fact that they all come together and make a nice cohesive narrative at the end really does make this a gem and makes it shine. The price tag might be a little steep still. I think you can get it on sale for around $40, but even if you have to pay the $60, it is worth that. I really think this game is one that belongs in your collection, and I truly love it. So go ahead and give this game a shot and don't rest on it. So thank you for watching today's video. It was a blast to make. I upload every single Monday. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. And have a great rest of your day. This is Ogre27 Kane, signing out.
So that's the way! Fired up and ready to rock! Yeah! Who's a badass?